Hey, what's up everybody? It's More88 bringing you guys a product today from Shooter's Element. It is their flat trigger for the CZ Scorpion. I'm going to show you guys how to properly install this trigger from Shooter's Element, and so that way you don't mess anything up. Alright, first things first to get started is you have your CZ Scorpion. Obviously, for anything, make sure your weapon is clear. No rounds in chamber, no magazine inserted. I'm good to go. First things first, whenever you go ahead and you were to start breaking down your Scorpion, you have a pin here, and you gotta put this on fire with your bolt back to the rear. So, first things first, put my bolt back to the rear. I'll put my weapon on fire and push this pin out. As I do that, I can take my firearm now and push downwards and rotate my lower assembly out, just like that. Once my lower assembly is out, I don't need my upper for the moment, so I'll set that up here. Then I got my lower assembly. In order to put my new trigger in, I need to completely take the whole entire trigger assembly out. How I'm going to do that, you ask? I have a screw that I already started off camera. It was a little bit in the way, but you get the point. Here is this screw here that is down in this portion. You put an Allen key down in, push it in, unscrew it. It sits right in here. I unscrewed it off camera. Kind of cheated a little bit. It was a little bit of pain in the butt to get out, so that's why I did that. But first things first is you want to unscrew this portion here for this screw, and then you want to take a smaller Allen key. I don't remember what size this one is. I don't have my pack with me. I just have a bunch of these sitting in a box. But you take a smaller Allen key, and right here on your safety selector, you can see there's a screw here, and there's a screw on this side. You only have to take out one of the sides. So go ahead, put your Allen key in. It's a pretty decently long screw, so it takes a little bit to back it out. So bear with me. And I'm not that tech savvy to speed up or fast forward this. So I get to the end, my screw comes out. So once my screw comes out, I don't need this Allen key anymore, so I just leave the screw attached and just kind of set that off to the side. Once you get that out, you take your right side, whichever side you end up unscrewing, take your safety selector piece off, set that to the side, take your safety selector bar, push that through, and set that to the side. Once that's done, you got your safety selector off, you have the screw right here out, and Shooter's Element, which is nice too, Shooter's Element sent me a new one because sometimes these screws from CZ Scorpion are Loctited, they get stripped, and it's just a big pain in the butt, so Shooter's Element sends you a new one. So I'll set that over here because I'm going to be using that now. Once that screws out, you can take your whole entire trigger pack. Should just be able to slide out. Maybe. There. Don't need that portion of your lower right now. So you got your trigger pack. Trigger pack, only thing you would have to do is this roll pin right there that holds your trigger on. So what I like to do is has some kind of support on one side. If you guys can see this here. Has support on the one side as I take a roll punch with my hammer and tap it out. Pin fell through. So here is my stock trigger that came on the CZ. This here, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, it's plastic. The one from Shooter's Element comes in metal. I'd rather have metal parts. Metal parts are less likely to go ahead and break. Weight difference isn't really too much, but compared to the flat trigger that they have from Shooter's Element versus the curved trigger through the stock CZ, I'd take a flat trigger any day of the week. On my LWRC that I have a CMC 2-stage flat trigger. I like flat triggers a lot better because as you're squeezing the trigger, you're not having to take up so much on the takeout. It's less to pull with flat triggers in my book. So you got your new trigger from Shooter's Element. You take it and you can see the little notch right there. That's where your roll pin would actually sit through. So you take your new trigger, set it up on inside. It will slide. See, that slides up. You want to make sure that it's completely depressed to the front. Take your roll pin, you can inspect it. My roll pin is still in really good shape, which is awesome. I hate blowing out roll pins because they're a pain in the butt to correct. So like before, get my pressure there. Make sure I'm keeping that positive pressure, pushing it to the right. Get my hammer. Get started. Take my pin, my roll punch. Almost there. Not quite through. Let's see if I can get a bigger punch. It's starting to blow out just a small bit, but I'm going to get a bigger brass punch to drive her home. Just like so. And I like with brass punches too is they don't mar up. So that's out of the way. Here is your new trigger that you just installed. Probably could. Now you want to make sure too that it goes through more. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Just touch it up real quick. Punch. So you want to make sure definitely that it's even throughout on both sides. Let's see. I don't want to let it too far. I mean, it's just back and forth, cat and mouse, chasing it back and forth. So that should be pretty good there. So there's your new trigger from Shooter's Element. You have your new trigger versus stock trigger. Definitely a huge, subtle, small upgrade, but pans out big time. So in order to reinstall your weapon, reinstall your trigger pack into your lower into your upper. We'll get back to that. So if for some odd reason you were tinkering, banging away, like see how mine did right here, the pin is a little bit recessed out. Sometimes that happens. So I'll take the rubber side of my mallet, kick that pin back through. That there will stop this from going in flush into my lower receiver. So just tap that through. Make sure this pin and your 3mm and your 5mm pins are flush on both sides. Take your lower receiver, drop it down inside. I think that pin is still hanging up. Yeah. Sticking out just a little bit too far. There. Drops that back down inside, kind of wiggle that down as much as you can until that trigger is all the way through. Once your trigger is all the way through, take your left side of your safety selector, start sticking it through. Now the tough part is, if you can see here, there's like a W cut out into the safety selector. That W has to fit into this crevice. So one side of that W, the V cut, has to fit into this portion. So as you're mating it through, you want to make sure you kind of jiggle it a little bit until you hear that audible click. Close. No cigar yet. Look, hear that click? That means that W, that one far right section, because you want to make sure it lines up this hole into this safety selector, that right side of the W, the V cut fits right up inside there on that notch. Once you get that in, take your right side of your safety selector, make sure the hole is up, and take this off camera real quick. Yep. So the holes line up. Take my screw back on my Allen key, drop that down inside. And yet again, I don't have the fast forward section, so bear with me. You can fast forward yourself, probably 30 seconds take me to get this in. I don't have any Jeopardy theme music either, sorry. So fast forward about 20 seconds. Make sure that's nice and snug. Don't want to over tighten it. Once you get that portion done, flip it up when it's back. And then with Shooter's Element, how they sent you a new screw with your trigger. Put your screw in. Let's make sure I have the right size Allen key first. So mount that into the hole, and I don't have any really fancy Allen keys in order to get this to work, so I have to use my smaller ones. But if you pull back on the magazine release, you get it to spin pretty good. Get that seated nice and tight, and then once you're done that, trigger's installed. Make sure, now in order to put this into your upper, make sure that's still on fire. First portion of going back in is this portion into the pistol grip. Get that mated up, slides up, push your pin through. So that pin that came through, push it up through that side, and then you can let your bolt go home. Safety check in order for the trigger, make sure it's working properly. Weapon is on fire. I don't really like dry firing my weapons, but for this case I am going to. Fires, racket, trigger still in there. Hold it back to the rear. You can hear the audible click. This trigger is installed. Shooter's Element flat trigger install. I'm going to put a link down in the description below, and you guys can go over to their page and check them out. This is the stock CZ trigger. This is the new Shooter's Element trigger. Just the subtle updates that I do with this CZ, it gets better and better and better. I put in the the Shooter's Element charging handle. I put in the Shooter's Element magazine release. I put in the Shooter's Element trigger. I mean, just those three things that I've put into this thing is making this weapon, 100 times more better in my case. I mean, between grabbing mags, charging the bolt to the rear, and then shooting the firearm. I mean, I love flat triggers. Go check them out, guys. Put a description down, or put a link down in the description below. Shooter's Element flat trigger. This is Urban88. As always, if you guys like my videos, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell button so that way you can get new notifications for any of the new videos and products that I have to do reviews on. This is Urban88. Thanks for watching.